Hey there, sports fans. Welcome to the Sports Kings from Queens. I'm Gino. I'm joined by my co-hosts, Darren and Kevin. Today's Wednesday, July 7th. This is episode 179. Please catch us wherever you get your podcasts. Like, subscribe. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram. We're all over the place. Give us a look. Join our pages. We'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions, comments, send them to us. We'll get back to you. Guys, it's July. It is sports potpourri time. There's very little going on in the world of sports right now. We're going to touch on some things. We're going to talk some baseball. For today, Yankees are at 50-41, 3.5 back of Toronto. Mets at 53-39. They are tied in first place with the Phillies at the moment. Both teams are staggering at the moment, hoping to get something rolling now. Kev, let's start it off with the Mets.
What a difference a week makes.
No doubt.
Last Wednesday, my rant, my year cursing. I don't know how many times I said freak, freaking Mets, freaking this, freaking that, trying to keep it clean.
And that is your cursing, by the way.
What was that?
No,
that is your cursing.
But yeah, what a difference. You know, last week when we were recording this, they dropped the first game of the Twin Bill to the Brewers. They came back in the nightcap while we were recording it. Nimmo grand slam, Mets win 7-3. Come back Thursday, Peterson gives them what they needed into the seventh inning when the pitching staff is a little short. 3-2 win. And they 2 in a row going into the Subway Series. And then you look at Friday night and, you know, you're looking at the Stroman-Hageman matchup. And somehow, some way, Hageman and Warren combined for 6 innings, kept the Mets in the game somehow. Stroman was, you know, shaky. And it set it up where McNeil had the big 2-run home run in the 7th. Garrett 6 outs to close it out. And it was quite a comeback because, you know, it started off terribly if you're a Met fan. You know, with Hageman starting, Dominguez and Judge lead off with home runs. And then, you know, couple more solo shots from the Yankees, but you know they hung in there and kept it, like I said, close enough for McNeil to get the winner.
Some of the sloppiest baseball I've seen in a 3-game series, I got to tell you, by both teams.
and obviously it's Sunday,
no
but some
no good pitching. I just,
you know, Saturday, you know, the one chance that you thought the Mets may have had with Montas. You don't know which Montas is going to show up. I mean, he was their ace this weekend, going up against Rodon. And Nimmo got it started off great with the grand slam in the first. Alonso, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs later. Montas did just enough, got him into the 6th inning, and the Mets pulled away 12-6. And then that set up Sunday where Fried had to step up. And Fried, you know, the Mets made them work. They drove up the pitch count. He only won 5 and change, or 5+. He didn't get it out in the 6th, but he left. It was 5-0. Mets tried to come back a little bit. You know, it was a bullpen game for the Yankees, and Zach Pop, who made his one and hopefully only appearance for the Mets this year, and then in the third, 5 3 runs, and then probably the one managerial decision this whole weekend. And you know, game by game, we could talk about bullpen usage, left the starter in too long.
Do we have to?
But the one was Waddell pitching to Judge with the runner on second, first base open. Out of the 30 to 40,000 fans in the stands, 98% probably thought it was a home run before the at-bat even started. Would that be about right?
You like your chances as a Yankee.
All right. Yeah, you like your chances.
You like your chances. Judge delivered, and then they held on to win 6-4. Bellinger with the hell of a play.
Yeah, it was an amazing play.
Maybe catching that shoestring backhand and then coming to firing and nailing Lindor was double off first base there.
Yeah.
Great play. Saved the game for the Yankees right there and gave the Yankees a much needed win, just at least salvage one in the series and break their losing streak a little bit. What were you guys' thoughts on the Subway Series?
I hate the Subway Series. I have for many years. I don't enjoy it. as a Yankee fan, there's no winning in the Subway Series. We're supposed to win the series. When we don't, it's like, oh my God. And let's don't take it the wrong way, Kev, but the Met fans celebrate in June and July like no other team, no other fan base I've ever seen. I mean, they're acting like they just had the parade. I've never enjoyed it that much. Maybe the first few years I did, watching Malicki shut them out, and so some interesting things that went along the way. Watching Piazza take Clemens deep, and he had some interesting things early on. Bellinger's play saved the game. The umpiring behind home plate on Sunday was atrocious both ways, but obviously the Torrens stuff stands out because it was the ninth inning, and I feel like that third strike was basically because of all the chirping, but because it wasn't really that close. Neither was the strike before it. I thought that that you can't say that Torrens going to get a big hit. You don't know what he's going to do, but you took the bat out of the kid's hands. So I thought the Yankees got a little lucky with that. I thought Bellinger's play was huge. And again, the Yankee bullpen, which was started off as a strength, between the injuries and the inconsistencies, has fallen apart now. So they need Fernando Cruz back in the worst way. Okay. They Leiter, I mean, I know he was apparently playing on some sort of a break in his leg, but whatever. Get him out of here. I can't watch him anymore. Williams has been better, but he's still not Williams. And Weaver suddenly has fallen apart. Loaiza gives up home runs every time he comes out. 2 tonight so far. It's like, so even though you're starting with Stroman, you expect Rodon to do a little better than he did. He was the one that disappointed you. Fried was cruising through 5. The Mets got him in the 6th. But the Yankees were able to hold on. Listen, they had lost. They had gotten swept by Toronto. They had lost 6 in a row, and all in games where the Yankees, 3 out of 4 games, the Yankees could have easily won those games. They were one-run games or tied late, and they just didn't find a way to get it done. But when you watched the Subway Series, the Mets. It started with the win over Mizorowski, right? The guy that nobody could touch.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and he came back with his next start and shut down the Dodgers. But at that moment, when I think it was Nimmo that took him deep, that started that off. And Nimmo had a couple of big home runs last week, which were great. But, Mizorowski, who was like untouchable, a whip under like 0.7. And, and that just turned it all around. And now, and then they lose,
slam. Yep.
And then they lose the Sunday game, but they come back and in dramatic fashion last night and win again against Baltimore. Rained out tonight, but down 6-2. I mean, I know Baltimore's not a very good team this year, but still a win when you're down 6-2 late. Homers by was Lindor and Alonso.
Yep. And
good stuff for the Mets. On the Yankees side, like we said, it's just they got to get some guys back on track. I was cursing about Clark Schmidt 2 years ago, Gino. Now the fact that he's out for a year is kind of devastating, right?
Oh, it's horrible.
Slitler pitched well tonight. Your favorite player got DFA'd today. I don't even know how you're able to survive on the show today, Gino. If you want to talk about DJ.
Listen, he deteriorated from when we signed him, gave us the good first 2 years of the contract, and then got injured. And honestly, they kept moving him around the infield, and he's not a first baseman and he's not a third baseman. He's a second baseman. And that's, if you can get what you were getting from him in year 1 and year 2 out of him, they're good numbers for a second baseman, but that's all they are. They're good numbers. They're not great. Okay.
If he's winning batting titles, you'll play him anywhere.
No, Kev, I won't. I never wanted him at first. I never wanted him at third. If he's going to play first base and hit the way Arise hits and hits 320, I still don't want him at first base. He's not a first baseman.
His first year at the Yankees, he was 20 and 100.
Yeah, at second base, though. That's the difference.
If that's your first baseman, I'll take that as my first baseman.
No, I won't. I won't. No, because at Yankee Stadium, I don't want. I need him as a second
conversation.
I needed him as a second baseman
on everything. Now that you get power from every other position on the field, first and third base power isn't as necessary as it once was. This is where me and Kevin are the opposite of you, from the way that we actually understand the way baseball has evolved in this way, while you just still want power at the corners. And I'm not disagreeing with you. It's just funny. It's the only old school thing that you really enjoy. It's like, no, I need my power hit. My corner should be hit for home. I'm not
But
trying to be
Darren,
funny. It's just funny.
Darren, here's the difference. The advantage of having a LeMahieu on this team, or what the difference was you had a 25 home run hitting second baseman. That's the advantage of having him on the roster.
That's a luxury.
If you're taking no, Kev, it's not that.
Yes,
But that's it's not. See, I disagree with you. If you're bringing him in here to man second base and he's hitting you 20 to 25 home runs, that's the advantage. If you're putting him at first base, I can get a ton of guys. I can get Rowdy Tellez off the freaking waiver wire who can hit 25 home runs in Yankee Stadium.
220 instead of 320.
Listen, as a guy that likes the
average
Padres,
I need from him.
I'm fine with Arias playing first base for me. And I have no problem with it whatsoever. I understand what you're saying. I'm not necessarily disagreeing, but I like a guy that moves people around the field. Moves people around the base pass. I like guys that make contact. It's something that I think is a lost art, and I hate unproductive outs. And
listen, we are far away from him hitting 320, by the way. So
no doubt
we can even stop that conversation right now.
No, I'm just saying when you brought up Arias, I'm fine with Arias, who's only hitting 294, by the way, which is down for him this year. But you know, I'm fine with the guy that makes contact that moves around because there's other bats in the lineup, like you said. But at the same time, I just don't LeMahieu. When LeMahieu's hitting 230, he's out of position. He's not hitting any pop.
No,
there's really no value to him.
When he's hitting 230 and he can no longer field second base, he's got no range left anymore.
No, he listen.
And at 230 with no pop, he can't play him anywhere else besides second base without any sort of defense helping them out there. You know, now you're forcing Jazz Chisholm, who can't play third. Now you weaken two positions. There. You had to get rid of him.
And listen, other than a 2.5 week stretch last year, this is the same LeMahieu that we had last year. Other than that, he had a 2.5 week stretch where he was on fire with the bat, and that was it. And that's the same guy that I've been picking on for 2.5 years because I don't want to play him first. I don't want to play him third. But listen, they released him. You know, Darren, this is the third straight year that in June, July, the Yankees have had a 6-16 stretch.
Yep.
Do you put anything into that?
Yeah, we have a crappy GM and a horrible manager.
Is it the letdown from coming out of the gate strong? I don't know what the hell it is.
Well, for me, watching this team right now, and listen, injuries, but they affect everybody. But when I watch this team right now, here's what I know. I need to see, just base it off 10 games, right? I need to see Judge in every game, right? 10 out of 10. He's got to play every day. I need to see Bellinger in 9.5 out of 10 games. 9 to 9.5, all right? I need to see Dominguez in 8 to 8.5 out of the 10 games. I need to see him. I'm sorry. I need to see what this kid can do.
I agree.
I need to see Goldschmidt in 9 out of 10 games. Need to see it. That means that I need to see Stanton in 8.5 out of the 10 games because I need to get his back going. He's got 2 homers since he came back, right? Yep. Enough of the mishmash sitting Goldschmidt against the righty, enough of Grisham playing a lot. I don't need it. I don't need to see Trent Grisham. I know what he is. I know he's streaky. I know he's a nice player. But what we also know at the same point in time, he's very streaky, and he can hit 192 for you the same way he can hit 230. We know what Trent Grisham is, okay? Ben Rice, nice start, exciting. Stanton's playing in the playoffs, right? Or is it Ben Rice? What do you think? I think they're going to go with Stanton. Just a hunch, right? Well, he owns. So I need to see him. I need to see these two idiots stop moving around the lineup so much. Play the guys I need to see. I need to see Dominguez. I need to see what he can do. I need him out there every day. I need to see Bellinger never coming out. I need to see Judge. If you want to give him a day off, he's DHing. That's what I need. I need Goldschmidt every freaking day. I need to see the lineup. And when you play around like they're playing around, trying to figure out how to mix and match, it's bull. It's garbage. And that's what the Yankees are doing. They try to outthink everybody, and they're morons, Kev.
Who are the 4 best Mets players?
4 best Mets players are Soto, Lindor, Alonso. You know, I guess Nimmo, you call it? I mean, right? That's what I would call it. Nimmo is 4?
Nimmo's either 1 or 5, and the other 3 are 2, 3, and 4 every day.
It's got to be.
That's what the Yankees need to do.
Oh, agreed.
I need the
at the top of the lineup there. Mix and match at the bottom if you want to find some matchups. But like you said, it's got to be. If you want Judge 2, that's fine. Especially if you're against the righty, let Bellinger hit 3. Take advantage of the short porch. Hopefully he gets going. Have Stanton bat 4. Let him just get going. Might as well put Dominguez 1. He's got a little bit of speed, right?
Yeah,
especially that they like hitting Jazz 5, which I still hate, but especially because of that, yes, hit Dominguez 1. I agree.
Yeah, and just ride with that.
I mean, listen, I think the Met 4 is better than the Yankee 4 in consistency. I'll give Judge the 1, and I'll give Mets like 2, 3, and 4. I'll put Alonso a little bit behind, behind the other 2, behind Lindor and Soto. And I put Bellinger back there, kind of with Nimmo and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The Yankees might have, 7 and 8 if we were combining it all. But at the same time, I need to see these guys play every day. And enough of the
lineup.
Listen, and and Grisham has to play, fine. But until that moment, enough. G.
I would assume on the same thing that Kev said with consistency, that now that they DFA'd LeMahieu, we're going to see Jazz at second every day. I'm assuming that. Right. I'm just saying. I'm assuming that that's part of what we're talking about, which is we want to see some consistency out of this group. That's it. If Jazz is going to complain that he doesn't want to play third, fine. You're putting him at second base and saying, okay, that's it. We're done. We're not moving you around. We'll figure out third base with a host of other guys until maybe the deadline when we acquire somebody.
Yeah. And that's what they have to do next. They have to come up. Now you made this move. They have to go out and they have to make the move. They have to get a third baseman. I mean, that's what it comes down to. There's no wiggle room.
So
Mark Vientos.
Well, I don't think the Mets are giving up on him just yet. He was so good in the postseason.
I know
that you still have shades of watching him hit everything that was coming down anywhere near the plate last year, right?
Yeah.
And Kev, it would not have happened because the Yankees and Mets are almost never going to make a trade of any kind of value, right? But in the off season, if we had offered Spencer Jones for Jeff McNeil, it probably would have went through. If it wasn't for the fact that it's Yankees Mets across town, it's not going to happen. Okay, but it's that.
By the way, before you get into third baseman, though, G, I don't want to see Spencer Jones. I'm already having enough problems getting these guys at bats. I don't need to see Spencer Jones come up. I don't.
Oh no, I'm not talking about him coming up.
No, but there are rumblings about it.
Yeah,
I don't need
Where's
to
he going to play?
He's not going to play anywhere. There's no way to play him right now.
I mean, we don't need that. If you want to tell me that they're going to look at Lombard and maybe Sid Volpe, that's the only move I can see from them there, outside of Schlittler, who they brought up tonight.
Yeah,
it's not. I don't know. It just
it
just drives me crazy watching this team the last couple of days because I just want to see the lineup out there.
So here are some third basemen. So I went through the list, and there's very few guys on this list that are not from 6 teams. So there are 6 teams that I basically focused on because I thought those are the teams that are probably going to try to unload some guys, right?
Who you got?
The White Sox, Washington, Arizona, Pittsburgh, Colorado, and Oakland, the A's. Okay. And the A's are on the outside of unloading somebody because it's going to have to be a situation thing. They're not just unloading for the sake of unloading. They're not letting young guys go and that kind of thing. So here are some third basemen.
Severino would be the unload guy for the A's, in my opinion.
I'm sorry.
Severino would be the one guy that they probably want to unload.
And he's on
hasn't pitched well.
And he's on my pitcher list. But let's talk to third baseman. So the one guy, actually the 2 guys that are not on those teams are Arenado and then Yohan Moncada from the Angels. Those are the 2 that are not on any of those teams. Okay, but here you go, Darren. Suarez from Arizona.
I can't see them doing it, but I would look at him.
And here you go. Ahmad Rosario from Washington.
No way.
I know. I don't want him here either.
No, there's 2 I like.
Oh, wait. McMahon from Colorado.
There's one of the 2 I like. Got that lefty swing, like the short porch, can play defense, and he's hitting like 220. I don't know how much it's going to cost us.
Brian Hayes from Pittsburgh.
He hasn't hit in Pittsburgh.
Darren, I can't give you somebody that's hitting 300 with 14 home runs. They're not going to trade him.
No,
Okay,
I'm just saying.
I know.
I don't look at Brian Hayes or Ahmed Rosario saying the Yankees are better when these guys come in. I just don't.
I'm gonna say this name and know that I do not want to go down this road, but Gio Urshela, okay, who's on Oakland right now.
Been there, done
I
that.
know. Miguel Vargas from the White Sox. Because I think for a prospect or two, he could be had. Again, Darren, I'm giving you, this is the list. You got somebody else?
For me, it's Arenado or McMahon, or I'm not making a move.
And so my third guy in there is Suarez.
Yeah, you know what? I don't need another all or nothing guy. I know he puts up great numbers. It's just me. I watched that guy have years that he's awful and years that he's good. I could see him coming here hitting $150 and hitting nothing.
Those are the only three guys I can come up with. I'm sorry, Kev. Go ahead.
Suarez is a rental, right? He's a free agent after the year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Arenado's got a couple of years.
He does.
I think one more after this year.
You might be right.
I think after this year he's got one more. I think so.
And is he still arbitration eligible?
Who?
For a couple of years? McMahon?
I honestly don't know.
I'm not sure, Kev. That one I'm not sure about.
I don't think he's been around long enough to be free agent yet. I think he might still be arbitration. So,
could be
a little bit more in the prospects. So Suarez will come cheapest.
Yes.
As a rental. But the other two are more sure things.
So maybe not, only because of the three, Suarez has got the power potential to give you the most. So maybe not. But yeah, I mean, listen, from that list, and the other guy I didn't even bother naming, Darren, because I don't want him here, is IKF. Again, poof, you want me to shoot? I just got rid of LeMahieu. You want me to shoot my head off again? I mean,
Come on, it's 2 home runs at third base. We need power out of third base.
Well, yeah, I mean, no, I mean, like what you're saying. I mean, right now, IKF doesn't make me feel like we got better.
No, exactly.
Yohan Moncada has never shown a thing in this. He was just highly touted. Has never done a thing. To me, Arenado is an ideal guy for one reason. He gives you the glove and he makes contact. Now, I know contact is not important to other people. It's more important to me than a lot of people that watch baseball. I like guys that put the ball in play because things happen.
This was my off-season guy, Darren. You don't have to tell me.
My other guy is McMahon, simply for the short porch. That's it. I mean, nobody else do I think improves the team. Nobody else you mentioned. Not a soul.
No, listen.
I mean, Suarez does improve the team.
I mean, to me, those are the only 3 third basemen that really do anything for me. Kev.
Yeah.
Outfielders potentially for the Mets.
They need to be able to play center field.
I understand. You ready for the list?
Yep. Cedric Mullins.
So it goes a little bit deeper than the 6 teams, but not much because there's only about 7 guys on this list. So Mullins is on my list.
Of course,
yeah. Luis Robert.
No.
From the White Sox.
No.
What about Randall Grichuk from Arizona?
I don't see him as a center fielder as much. I know
I understand, but
I'm a corner guy. I know.
There are not many from these teams. Do you want Harrison Bader again?
I'll stick with Taylor for defense out there.
Okay, and then after that, I'm going to go to some of the guys that can play out there. McCutchen, Gurriel, Soler. I mean, those are the outfielders that are going to be on the market from these teams. Now, there is one other one. I don't know if he's gettable, but it's Stephen Kwan from the Indians. That's the only other one that's out there from the teams that I looked at that may be willing to dump somebody. So that would be the only other one. Darren?
The only guy I would throw out there, only because he's having such a crap season, but he had such a good one last year, and he's cheap probably at this point, is Brenton Doyle.
No,
he's hitting like 2.
Brendan Doyle from the Colorado?
Yeah. He's 209. He's not hitting well.
I know.
But last year he looked like a world beater. And so when I looked at it, I just I passed him over for this list because I just thought he was too young and had too much promise for the Rockies just to be dumping a guy for the fact of dumping somebody.
Probably, like you said, I drafted him for fantasy, figuring last year he's going to be good. And without knowing him or what the situation is, remember, he lost a very young child earlier this year. You don't know what that's done to him.
Oh, it had to affect him big time. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
I mean, some people are going to react some ways that you just don't know, and maybe he may need to take off the rest. I mean, like I said, totally.
Yeah.
No professional fault behind not knowing anything about his situation personally, but he's the guy that might need to just take the rest of the year off and grieve properly and come back next year. You don't know. That's why, talent wise, yes, he's worth a gamble. If his head's in the game. Like I said, I don't know if that's part of the problem.
But it might be a change of scenery and not seeing the things over and over again.
That could help
too. Seeing every day.
So there is one outfielder I completely left off the list on purpose. I want to tell you who it is, and it's Brian Reynolds from Pittsburgh. I'm going to tell you why.
No trade.
He has a no trade clause for 6 teams. These are all good 6 teams, okay? Yeah. And they include the Yankees, the Mets, the Blue Jays, the Dodgers, the Giants, and the Padres. Those are the 6 teams that he does not want to be traded to.
Yeah, there's not a crap team in the bunch.
No, I want to play baseball, but I don't want to play in October. Is that what his whole purpose is? I don't know.
He's got a big trip planned in mid-October.
Maybe. All right. So
out of all those guys, Cedric Mullins is the guy because he's still going to give. Like I said, Taylor's terrific defensively out there. I think Mullen is just as terrific out there as well. Mullen can give you the defense, but he's also going to give you a chance to. He's got 12 or 13 home runs, I think.
Yep.
And Taylor's got 1, 2.
Taylor's not an offensive bat at all, Kev.
He's
not. Let's say it. I mean, he's out there. He's playing center field. He's giving you good defense, and that's all he's giving you. I mean,
it's to the point where you'd rather see McNeil out there, who's actually playing well out there too.
Yeah.
I mean, McNeil gives you the better option right now in center field.
Well, listen, when you got a player that you're excited when they go 1 for 4, and the Yankees have him too, but that's what Tyrone Taylor has become. He went 1 for 4 today. It's exciting because you expect him to go 0 for 4. And that's the problem with a lot of these guys nowadays, and particularly the guys that have tried to play center field for the Mets. Even though McNeil had the big home run, last week. Don't get me wrong, he certainly did. He's a better bat, but he's another guy that we were talking about it before about how LeMahieu fell off the face of the earth. I mean, what happened to Jeff McNeil as a 330 hitter that's now struggling to get to 250, 260? I mean, it's a totally different world.
All right, last list is pitchers.
Yep.
Keeping it to those teams, okay? Obviously, Bednar is on that list. Mitch Keller's on that list. Marquez from Colorado. Soroka, Finnegan from Washington. Sean Burke, who's having a good year for the White Sox, although really don't know what he can project to be. Severino, Springs, Sears from Oakland. And then it's what is Arizona willing to deal, because are they willing to deal Gallen? Are they willing to deal Rodriguez? Are they willing to deal Merrill Kelly, Ryan Nelson? They have pitchers. It's just a matter of what they're actually willing to give up. They're not having a good year, but that doesn't mean they're going to just dump, trade away Gallen. So, that's basically the list. There's only 2 relievers on that list between Bednar and Finnegan. I looked around. That was really the only 2 closer type guys I could find that would probably be, on the trade market. There may be some others. I didn't go completely deep, but Kev?
What about Baltimore and Bautista?
Do you even want Bautista? I mean, he's not
good
at all.
He's been wild this year. The walks have been up. His strikeouts are fine. His hits per 9 is fine. It's the walks. But if he's pitching the 8th instead of the 9th, where you've got a little bit of wiggle room there, he's a guy that I would want.
Okay, it's
It's either him and Ben.
I'm not crazy about him, but I get your enthusiasm for adding him to this list. I don't know how much Baltimore is willing to give up, though.
Yeah,
I put Mullins on that list because
he's a free agent,
and they have enough young players that I don't know if they're just willing to deal him, but I would if I was in their shoes. I got enough young guys. I can find somewhere to put them.
I mean, you don't know if a Sproat or a Tidwell would be enough for a guy like Mullins, who's going to be a free agent.
I think Sproat ends up. I think Sproat's not bad. I think Sproat gets a decent amount. I don't think Tidwell's nearly the prospect that Sproat is, in my opinion.
I mean, I'm looking at them being 3rd and 4th behind right now, McClain and Tong.
Oh yeah. Well, Tong still hasn't made it up to AAA yet, but his stat lines every time he pitches are just fun to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, 6 innings, 11 Ks, 1 run, no runs. It's like, Jesus, how come this guy can't get to AAA? But that's just one man.
From a Met perspective, you're hoping that Raley comes back and pitches a good second half here. And yes, it's against minor leaguers, but he's at least looked good in his rehab appearances. So he should be back right after the All-Star break. So that gives you that lefty you need. If you get that 8th inning guy, now you back Stanek and Garrett back to the 7th and 6th innings. Brazoban now becomes that 5th or 6th inning guy. And now you have a much deeper bullpen. But like I said, the 2 additions are that 8th inning guy and Raley. In your rotation,
you're going to have to bring somebody here.
They have to. Your rotation, you're hoping, Senga wasn't out that long. He should be back starting Friday. Looks like Minaya should be starting Sunday. You don't know about the elbow. Of all the pitchers you mentioned, I tell you, the one I would be most interested in, I think Arizona would want a lot for Gallen. Merrill Kelly, he's 33, 34, I think. A little bit older guy, but he's a workhorse type. I mean, as much of a workhorse as you have nowadays. He's going to go out there. He's going to give you 6 or 7 innings almost every start. And I think that's what the Mets need right now is a guy who they can go out and rely on to give him 6 or 7 every turn through.
Merrill Kelly is 36, by the way.
He's 36. Okay. Like I said, you're not looking. Like I said, I think he's going to come a little cheaper than some of these guys, and I'd rather have him for 12 starts down the stretch here, where I'm going to get 70 or 80 innings. And no,
you're going to think of a decent amount, though, Kev.
Yeah.
Even though he's 36, he's proven.
Yeah, I know. But the team's built that they're right there.
All right, so we're
on the Yankees side of it, the same thing, G. On the Yankees side, it's really going to come down if Weaver can get it together. And we got to find that out in the next couple of weeks. He had a good performance tonight. We'll see what the story is. With him going forward, we need him to keep it going like that. But if Cruz comes back and is able to pitch the 7th, and Weaver's the 8th, and Williams is the 9, you can live with it, right? I mean, you're okay with it. Loaizaga figures out what he's got going on as the 6th inning guy. You feel like you got enough. The starting rotation is definitely an issue, right? Schlittler, pitched well tonight, but who the hell knows? Heel's close to coming back from everything we hear. Hopefully we see him soon. The loss of Clark Schmidt is pretty devastating to this team. Stroman is not the answer, and it going in. They have to bring in another starter.
Yep. I would expect another starter here.
And the same guy that Kevin's looking at is the same guy I would have said. If I could get something for Merrill Kelly, listen. If Arizona gives up on Zach Gallen, that's awful on their part.
I agree. I'm just,
I mean, if they did,
Gallen's the guy you keep. If you're the Arizona, 36-year-old Merrill Kelly, you see what you can get from him.
Yeah, I mean, it'll cost you. It'll cost you a good prospect. It'll cost you a top 10.
Yeah.
but Merrill Kelly's been good, and he'd be the guy I'd look at. At the Pen, we might need to make a move, but I feel like if Weaver's on his game and they can get him back, it could be I don't know. I don't need to waste anything on Bednar. I don't need to waste anything on any of these guys.
No,
I don't like any of them all that much.
Listen, I agree with you.
I
think one of these middle reliever lefty guys could come over somewhere. I don't think the Yankees, if they're going to acquire a bullpen arm, are going to acquire anyone big name. I don't see that because they invested too much in the Devin Williams trade to bring him here, so they're going to have to play it out for this season at least anyway before they make any kind of move. I mean, as it is, they demoted him, and now when Weaver went out with the injury, they brought him back to the closer role. So I don't think that's going to happen. All right, so All-Star game coming up next week. One thing that just jumped out at me before I get there is, Colorado is 21-71.
They're very bad.
That is just horrible. Any snubs right off the bat? I mean, I got a couple.
Well, Trey Turner leads the league in hits. I don't know how you don't make the All-Star team.
Who?
Trey Turner. I don't know how he doesn't make it. I mean, he leads the league in hits.
Well, but so you say that, but so who are you taking off?
Okay, what are my options? Because I don't have it in front of me.
Well, I'll give you the easy one. Brendan Donovan.
Yeah, in a heartbeat. I know we got a great start. I know we want to reward all these guys for first-time All-Stars, but the All-Star game is about the fans watching the best players.
I agree.
Not a little happy, fun thing to see Brendan Donovan walk out there. Nobody gives a damn.
Yeah, I mean, for me, and I kind of touched on it last week. Bobby Witt not making that starting lineup is just a killer for me. But he made the team, like I said last week, so I'm okay with it. But I don't need C. Gleyber Torres starting at second base. That's a killer for me. And I don't need Javi Baez out in the outfield when there's a ton of guys that could have made this team over him. So, I think Kev, the one guy I was figuring you were going to bring up was Soto not making this team.
If it's an all-star game, he needs to be there.
I agree.
Based on his start and the stats he had going into June, if you're voting based on first half stats, he didn't deserve to make it.
Well,
he had a hot June. He finally got going in June, but the voting's been open for a lot longer than just June.
Listen, he didn't make it, and neither did Suzuki on the Cubs, who leads the league in RBIs right now. Okay,
yeah.
But neither did George Springer, who, by the way, seems to be tearing the cover off the ball in the American League side.
So in the National League, you got those two outfielders, right? Tell me who you want to take off from this list: Pete Crow Armstrong, Kyle Tucker, James Wood, Corbin Carroll, Ronald Acuna, and Fernando Tatis. And, they got two DHs on this roster with Ohtani and Schwarber. So, I think Soto should be on this roster, but I don't know who the hell you take off.
It would be, again, it's all-star versus what you've done the first half.
I know.
Acuna wasn't playing long enough.
I said this last week to you. I said this, and the only reason I think Acuna's on this team
is in Atlanta.
It's in Atlanta.
And he's an all-star caliber player.
He is. He
fans
definitely
want to
is.
see Ronald Acuna play. They also want to see Juan Soto play.
Yeah.
I agree.
Let's make the rosters. Let's just make the rosters 40 and give everybody one at bat.
I mean, it's getting ridiculous. I mean, listen, the All-Star game used to mean something when we were kids. We really enjoyed it. We grew up watching it. It hasn't. I mean, listen, I don't think it has the same luster as it did for the kids now as we had back then. It just doesn't seem to have that same.
I don't know how it
joy
can,
because you can watch the team, you can watch everybody all the time. You get highlights of everybody. It's a totally different game. We were talking about Dave Parker's throw in the '79 All-Star game like it was yesterday. Yeah. I remember it like it was freaking. I remember Lee Mazzilli tearing it up as a hitter. I remember that throw and Carter tagging out Downing. I remember that play like it was yesterday. And we used to love watching that stuff. I remember, Atlee Hammock giving up the grand slam to Fred Lynn. I remember all these little things when I was a kid because the American League never won. That's why it was a big deal. It was such a huge deal. Now, you don't even know if the players really want to be there. The money meant something more to them back then. The other things that stood out to me were a couple of the pitchers, National League in particular. Andrew Abbott and Christopher Sanchez probably both did enough to make it. But like you said, Gino, who are we taking off? A lot of guys are good. Joe Ryan in the American League. Who are we taking out?
I think somebody's going to make the team because Sale will be an injured. He'll be an injured guy that'll get replaced. But yeah, it becomes a numbers game at some point.
Which starters are pitching Sunday that they'll replace them with somebody else. You don't know what some of these other people
Sanchez
do.
right now is scheduled to pitch on Sunday.
Okay, so
I
that
don't know
takes
if he
him out
will.
of the equation anyway.
I think that takes him out. But that's what. Listen, he's on the fantasy team. I'm looking ahead. Who's pitching this week?
Here are the 5 NL starters: Skeens, Wheeler, Sale, Webb, and Mackenzie Gore. And you got me. Okay, somebody's got to come off the. I don't know. I don't know who it is.
No, I get it. It's tough. Listen, the fans vote, and that's why you get Javi Baez and you get Glaber, and because every day is Glaber Day. But it's if we're going to allow the fans to vote, this is what you're going to get sometimes. It's not what the Reds did in the 70s where everybody made the all-star team, and it's not
seven starters.
The Tigers were pretty damn close.
All right. Any other baseball points?
I have a bunch. Do you have any, Kev?
Just one funny stat I'd seen today.
Okay. Go for it.
Aaron Judge just passed Bryce Harper on the all-time home run leaderboard. Harper was Rookie of the Year in 2012. Judge was Rookie of the Year in 2017.
Freaking crazy.
All right, before Darren gets to his, I got one. You ready?
Yep.
In 1997, Craig Biggio played 162 games. He did not ground into a double play all year, and he is the only major league player to ever have that accomplishment to date. Figured you like that one, Darren. All right,
I have about 7, okay? But here we go.
Go for it.
First one, Greg Maddux, okay? In 2 different seasons, 1994 and 1998, Greg Maddux hit for a higher batting average than his batting average against. 222 to 207 and then 240 to 220. Kev, what were you going to say?
Oh, no, I had one more, too, when you're done.
Go ahead, Kev.
Over the weekend, Michael Bush? Matt Bush, I mean.
Michael.
Michael.
Michael
That's
Bush.
right.
Michael Bush.
That's Matt Shaw, Michael Bush. I got you.
Thank you. 3 home runs for the Cubbies off of the Cardinals, against the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
Third Cub to ever do that against the Cardinals. Hit 3 home runs in a game. It was Bush, Moises Alou in 2003, Hank Lieber in 1939.
1939.
3 guys to hit 3 home runs against the Cardinals as a Cub.
Okay.
All 3 were July 4th.
Really?
No.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That's a great stat.
That was like, how is that possible?
So that's pretty awesome. Okay, the last 3 single season home run hitters, leaders. So Maris, McGuire, and Bonds. Only one pitcher ever faced all 3. Nolan Ryan.
Wow.
They were 5 for 28 with no homers against Nolan.
Wow.
Speaking of Nolan Ryan, he only gave up 1 walk-off home run in his history of his career. Bruce Bochy.
Oh my God.
And what they did was they put a 6-pack and ice in his helmet. And because he had such a big head, they said it was the only helmet you could fit a 6-pack and the ice.
And that must be a lot of innings, Nolan Ryan.
Only walk-off he's ever given up. Luis Ortiz suspended for gambling. We know that. Anthony Volpe stat, because I'm a little down on Volpe. So over the last 3 years, since 2023, there's been 62 players that have registered 1,500 plate appearances, okay? Volpe's one of those 62. In that, he ranks 62nd on that list in average on-base percentage, OPS, and he's 58th in slugging. So we got to see if – listen, we've given him 3 years now. I have to see what Lombard can do, right? Just one man's opinion.
Yeah.
Manny Machado joined the 2,000 hit club. Okay. He's one of only 12 players with 350 homers and 2,000 hits. Gehrig, Fox, Ott, Mays, Mantle, Aaron, Frank Robinson, Griffey, A-Rod, Pujols, Cabrera, and Manny.
That's a hell of a list.
Wow.
Massive, man. This one's for you, Kev. The 1969 Mets only used 15 pitches all season. They're up to 36 so far. When Carrillo came in the other day. So
it'll be 37 on Sunday when
it'll be 37 on Sunday. 15 in the entire year in 1969. Here's one for Gino because he loves this. Ichiro got his third hit in his 10th at bat in baseball in his career. He'd never dip below 300 again.
Yep.
He was 2 for 9, never come below again. Patrick Bailey of the Giants hit the first inside the park home run walk-off by a catcher since the great Benny Tate. Kev, you remember this, 1926.
Oh, I remember that game very well.
Oh, craziness. And finally, Wanda Franco found guilty of sexual abuse with a minor, 2-year prison sentence. He was with a 14-year-old girl, but it seemed like the mother kind of set it up. A little bit weird down there, but still, you're a 21-year-old man with a 14-year-old girl. You got to be thinking a little bit. And finally, Bobby Yankkes, who on the mound, closing out the White Sox 88-year drought when they won the World Series in 2005, passed away, only 44 years old. So,
wow,
rest in peace, Bobby Yankkes. That's pretty much it. That's my baseball stuff.
All right. Let's go around the rest of the world of sports. So Knicks finally hired Mike Brown officially. Darren, it's a 4-year, $40 million contract. He was coach of the year twice.
Yeah, they still owe Tibbs 30, so $70 million out there for coaching.
He in 758 games, he is 454 and 304. So, any comments on the Knick hire, guys?
Well, Brunson already has been a little bit demoted. He's no longer the assistant head coach now. So we'll see how that affects Jalen. But Jalen wanted Tibbs to stay, so I guess they really don't care about how Jalen fails, I should say. Listen, they'll play with pace. He's won in the league. If they would have went out and hired Mike Brown right away, like we said last week, we might have been more excited. But because they went and struck out and missed so many times, it almost seemed like he was the guy that was left. I mean, listen, Tibbs brought us pretty far. Now let's see if Brown can take us the rest of the way. Kev?
Yep. You said it. I mean, the big thing's going to be, is Mike Brown going to play his roster or just 8 guys like Tibbs did? And
I agree. And that, to me, that's the key point in this, Kev. You just brought in Clarkson. You have a couple of guys on the bench that need to get some minutes. I don't know what you want to see out of them, but these guys got to play minutes to the point where everybody's not exhausted. Now, he got through this year's playoffs with no injuries, but last year was a mess with the injuries. We know that. So we'll see how that works out.
I mean, even with Brown coaching, this is a 50-something win team.
Agreed.
And the question is going to be, how far do they get to the playoffs?
Yep. And honestly, who winds up being in their way as they get through the playoffs? Because from what we've seen out of the East right now, it's kind of a mess. One other trade in the NBA that I saw this week, the Spurs traded for Kelly Olynyk from the Wizards. Gave up a couple of bench guys and a second-round pick next year. That was all I got for NBA. Any other NBA news, guys?
Nope.
Not for me.
Let's talk a couple minutes on U.S. soccer. USA lost in the CONCACAF finals to Mexico 2-1. After a Chris Richards goal in the 4th minute, Mexico scored in the 27th minute and the 77th minute. We were all watching the game. After the first Mexico goal, U.S. seemed to not have a lot going on their side offensively. They put up a fight
before the first goal. They didn't have much.
Yeah. But once that goal happened, Mexico, I think, all of a sudden gained a little momentum where they were more confident in their play. And, from what we saw, it showed. Kev, what do you think?
But possession-wise, for the game, it was 60-40 Mexico, but I think that was a lot of U.S. pushing late. It was almost 2/3 to 1/3 through a good portion of that game. Shots, 16, 8 on net for Mexico, 6 and 3 on net for USA. And corners, 12 for Mexico, not a 1 for the U.S.
Yeah.
The entire game is played in the U.S. third. Mexico deserved to win. 2 questionable calls that also went Mexico's way. Again, the Mexico deserved to win.
They did.
This is not sour grapes. But 66th minute, you had that, the Mexican defender falls in the penalty area. His hand is on the ball. He pulls the ball into him. Just natural reaction there. It's a handball in the penalty area. Let's not look at it. Let's not talk about it. And then on the Mexico winning goal, Alvarez's header, the original ruling on the field was offsides. They went to VAR. They said it was onside. I still don't know if
very
it was
close.
onside or not.
It's real close.
That was real close. And like I said,
how do we not have goal technology, by the way, when you're playing a final in the Gold Cup?
Yeah.
What the hell's wrong with CONCACAF? I know some of these countries can't afford it, but come on, enough. Put it in everywhere.
And like I said, the team that deserved to win won. But
I agree. Yeah.
The only thing I'll take out of it was, listen, no Pulisic, no Dest, no Gio Reyna, no Pepe, no Tim Weah, no Weston McKennie, no Anthony Robinson, no Matt Turner. I mean, the only guy that was out there that's a lock to start, in my opinion, is Chris Richards, okay, who scored the only goal, by the way. Luna could play, but, we don't know how much. Weah might make the team. Freeze might have earned himself a shot at a backup goalie spot there. But we were playing a lot of backups. They had more experience than we did in the game. They were playing backups too, but they're just a little deeper. But Tyler Adams is the guy I skipped. I'm sorry. Tyler Adams will probably play as well. So, but there's a lot. We weren't really playing our best guys, and it showed. They were overmatched. They didn't know. They couldn't. The midfield, they could not control the ball. 65-35 or 60-40 at the end. That looked closer to 70-30 from like the 8-minute mark till the 70-minute mark. Yeah. And Mexico could just play around all day long. They didn't seem to care.
I don't follow U.S. soccer enough to know the answer to this, and I'm not sure you guys do either, but why weren't they not playing all of those?
Rest. They played long seasons. They played playoffs. They want them to be rested and healthy for the World Cup. And that's really what it comes down to. Mexico did the same thing. They didn't play everybody. Mexico played a little bit more than we did, but not a lot more. But these guys, they had the long season, and they sit them out, and they play the UEFA League and all that other stuff. And you put all these tournaments that these guys are playing in, and they just kind of gave them all the time off. A nagging injury here, that's all it was.
Soccer as a whole has done away with the friendlies. They've gone more tournament type events. Whether it's, Euros was always a thing, UEFA was always a thing, but I think there's more of these other tournament type feel to things, to games, to matches, rather than just, we're going to play this guy just as a friendly, where you can pick and choose who you play. I think the pressure is, sometimes you got to look long term. And like Darren, you said, the focus is going to be the World Cup next year because it's here in the U.S.
Yeah, they have to make sure that they have to get out of the group stage.
Exactly.
The whole thing and we'll get more into that as we get closer, but the whole goal is to get out of the group stage next year, and they have to make sure everybody's healthy and ready to go.
I get it. I understand what you're both saying. I'd still like to see some players playing and this team try to build a little momentum before we get there.
I don't disagree with you. I want to see the guys play too.
Just a little momentum. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Listen, I want to see him play too.
The U.S., I'm not sure what Mexico does, but I know over in Europe, all the leagues run August or September until May.
Yeah. Yep.
They take the summer off. And the U.S. plays, a traditional summer schedule. where, it's hard because Pulisic is playing in Europe. This is his time to rest. Some of the other players on the American team are playing MLS. They're on loan basically from their club team to play in this tournament. So they're already in shape. They're already in the middle of their season that they're playing a Gold Cup game instead of a club game. Still a game.
I got you.
Right. We want to see this.
Yeah, I got you.
We want to see this.
Yep. Speaking of club, there's a Club World Cup going on right now too.
Yeah, absolutely.
This weekend, Friday's games I didn't watch at all. Saturday, the 2 quarterfinals were interesting. Paris Saint-Germain beat Bayern Munich 2-0. Thought for sure Bayern was going to come back because PSG had two late red cards. One in the 80th minute, one in injury time. But somehow, some way, PSG was a team that scored down 2 men to go up 2-0 and pull that game and just cap that one off. Real Madrid and Dortmund played 3-2 was the final. This was 2-0 after 20 minutes in favor of Real Madrid. Dortmund scored a goal 92nd minute, so 2 minutes into injury time, 2-1. Mbappe for Real Madrid scored 2 minutes later, made it 3-1. 2 minutes after that, the red card penalty shot, Dortmund scored to make it 3-2. Last play of the game, fingertip save by the Real Madrid goalie to hold off Dortmund. Otherwise, that would be an incredible comeback because you had 2 goals for the first 90 minutes, and then 3 goals in stoppage time.
Extra time. Yeah,
it's pretty awesome.
The last 2 days, the semifinals, Chelsea beat Fluminense 2-0. PSG beat Real Madrid 4-0. And the final is Sunday at 3. The big problem is today, especially, it's the semifinals. Let's put them on. They're on DAZN or, that streaming service, DAZN. Channel 5 can watch the women's Euros.
Yeah, and
boy, that's really going to draw. But,
all right.
Yeah.
Kev, why don't you tell us what's going on with Wimbledon?
We've got the semifinal set. I'll start with the women's side. The upsets really tore apart this bracket here. We still got the 1 seed, Aryna Sabalenka. She's got 3 majors. She's facing the American Amanda Anisimova. She's seeking her first major. She's the 13th seed. The other side, she's only the 8th seed, but Iga Swiatek, who's got 5 majors, she's taking on Belinda Bencic, who's a unseeded. She did get high as number 4 in 2020. She won the gold at the 2021 Tokyo Olympics. Obviously not the career she's expected ever since then, but she's back in the semifinals, so she's got a chance here. Semifinals are Thursday morning. Then on the men's side, after the early upsets, boy, there's not much of a surprise here. 1 semifinal, Yannick Sinner, the 1 seed. He's seeking his 4th major. He'll go against Novak Djokovic, the 6th seed, who's seeking his 25th, which would break the all-time all-gender record for majors. And then the U.S. hope Tanner Fritz, who's the 5th seed. He'll be taking on the 2 seed Carlos Alcaraz in the other semifinals. So that should be 2 terrific matchups Friday. Between Sinner, Djokovic, and Alcaraz, they've combined to win the last 12 majors.
Sinner was in trouble. He was down 2 sets to love, and then Grigor Dimitrov had to retire. So
yes, he
Sinner
did.
Got away with 1.
Yep.
And then he came back and rolled in his next match. So there you go.
Yeah. Right. So root for Fritz. Sinner today beat Ben Shelton.
Yep.
3 good sets.
But he
7-6, 6-4, 6-4. And apparently Ben Shelton's dating Trinity Rodman.
Yep, he is.
And that's about it.
All right. Anything else, Darren?
You've upset Gino.
Why?
No, I just had a quick question for it. Just something I was thinking about, and then I saw somebody actually posted too. So, horse racing. Kev,
yes.
What do you think of the Dwayne Lucas Breeders' Cup Classic?
Oh, I liked it.
Don't you think it'd be pretty cool to name the classic after him?
Yeah.
He did so great in the Breeders' Cup. He's probably the greatest trainer of all time. I was thinking about it, and somebody actually put it down, and I was like, I'm going to ask Kev what he thinks. I like it.
Yes.
Just curious.
1,000% yes.
All right. So we're both on board with the same thing. G, you got anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
Nope, I'm good. That's it.
Kev, anything from you?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, we are the Sports Kings from Queens. Darren here with Gino, here with Kevin, talking about the wonderful, wild, wacky world of sports. A wacky world where DJ LeMayu is no longer going to be talked about on this program. Download the podcast anywhere you get a podcast, whether it be an Apple Product, Spotify, TuneIn, whatever you like. We post on social. Like it, share it. Even if you don't like it anyway and share it anyway. We need more followers and more likes and more everything else. And without any further ado, I should say, may your sports be with you.